Welcome to the Everyday GSD Podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by Good Dudes Coffee. Good Dudes Coffee can be bought at gooddudescoffee.com. Good Dudes Coffee is started and founded by Josh Bridges, former Navy SEAL. So let's go out and support a veteran with an amazing coffee company. All of their coffee is beautiful, it tastes great, and it gives you that pep in the step that you need every time you want a GSD. When you wake up in the morning, get Good Dudes Coffee. Again, it's at gooddudescoffee.com. Okay, thank you, Good Dudes Coffee. Now, let's get to brass nuts here. Our special guest, Douglas Bright. Doug. Okay, I've got a laundry list of cool shit you've done in your life, and then I'm going to just touch on a few things, because if not, the whole show would be your intro, but I am going to say a handful of things. You're the co-founder of the G.O.A.T, G-O-A-T, which is the greatest of all tees, t-shirt company, and you are no stranger of getting shit done. That's a fact. I remember the first time you came down to the studio, probably almost a year ago. We were recording someone, I don't know who it was, that you knew, and you came in here and you showed me your shirts, and I loved them. The material is great. The branding is awesome. I mean, I can go on and on about it, and actually we'll do that later. Yeah. Okay, so you're on you're very professionally driven. You made it a mission that you operate at a high level from the very young days of high school. You were a 7-letter athlete in track, football, and basketball. You were on a student council. You also worked in the Big Brother, Big Sister program, and you worked for St. Vincent's Stress Center working with children. Yep. You went to college at Florida A&M University. You were in the MBA program, and when you were in that program, you were on the dean's list. So not only are you an athlete, you're a smart fucking guy. I love this. Okay, you came here and did an internship with the NBA Indiana Pacers, and during their championship run back in the Reggie Miller, Derek McKee, the Davis brothers. During that era, you were part of that. I love it. And the resident bartender, Jonica, that's back in her day too. Yeah. Let me see. You started a promotion company when you were 23 years old. You promoted local bands, businesses, and events. Your main group was called Franchise, who went on to perform nationwide at events, including the Indy 500, which is the largest single standing sport event in the world. Sometimes 300, 400, 500,000 people at the event, which brings millions and millions of people into the city and lots of money. So that's huge. You got married when you had a 5-year-old. And during that time, you transitioned into, we'll call it the regular daily father family figure job. You were working for Angie's List as an account manager, but even during that time, you were the highest performer. You won all kinds of awards, and you were performing. You were getting shit done, even though that really wasn't your passion. You still busted your ass. And then around 2010, you started a digital marketing agency, which was called New Radar. Correct. And it still runs currently today. Yes. You're still the owner of that. So you've got your hands in a few cookie jars, to say the least. You also worked in a digital signage company for Gene B. Glick as a digital marketing specialist. Did I say that right? Yeah. As well as an aerospace company as a marketing director. My God, my mouth is getting dry. We'll have to drink, and you can have some of that more of that horse soldier. Maybe. And then, obviously the GOAT, greatest of all tees, is your current business, and this is the one you're really passionate about, which I love, because when I first met you and I saw these shirts, and it's just really impressive to me to see where you've started. Because I don't like to use the word hustle, but I'm going to use the word hustle because it is a good word. You truly hustle this business to make sure that you're getting where it needs to be. You love the fashion industry, which reminds me we should get him in contact with Keith, who owns Premium Junk Clothing. He was on 2 months back or a month and a half back. Great guy, friend of mine now, has been for a while. But Keith Dixon, Premium Junk Clothing, will make a note to connect you with that, because he's got some amazing stuff in the fashion industry. And so you've been building this brand. Right now, the brand's on fire.
It is.
It's absolutely on fire, and it's in 2024. which is right around the corner. It's going to be nationwide in retail stores, which is awesome. On top of the GOAT, I mean, when does this end, right? You're a volunteer with local organizations. You mentor young entrepreneurs. You're also a business coach in the Lacey School of Business at Butler University,
correct,
where my wife actually graduated. And it's in your blood, or you're somehow have pushed this onto family members too, because you've got a son that attends Purdue. He's about 20 years old now, plays football. He's a wide receiver, just below a 4.0 average. So apparently he's an athlete and intelligent kid. 3.8, student athlete of the week a couple times. You got a brother who lives in Tempe, Arizona, who's a trainer. So clearly fitness is in your blood as well. And obviously you're in good shape. You have a nephew that's a star wide receiver in Arizona who's being looked at by Michigan, UCLA, and I mean, a list of schools, University of Arizona, Purdue, Kansas. Every day.
I told you. I hate to be that guy, but I told you so.
Every day get shit done. Well, shit, man, I don't even know where to start, but let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, what motivated you as a young child just to constantly be getting shit done? Because clearly this has been going on for a while.
It has been. I think my dad he was the youth programs director for Lilly Endowment for about 30 years. And
Lilly Endowment, that's Lilly, the pharmaceutical empire.
Correct.
For those listeners who don't know that.
Right. And so the endowment is their foundation. And so he's been giving money to different youth organizations, children's museums, the Big Brothers Big Sisters, anything that has to do with kids for a very long time. And so just seeing him as an example of somebody who has really, with his professional career, helped a lot of people, but also been able to be very successful with, traveling and, seeing the world. And like, well, I want to be that too.
Yeah. So he was an excellent role model.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You looked up and said, when I get older, I want to do that. But now that while I'm still young, I need to follow in the right footsteps.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
So where did you, so obviously you're in school and you're smart, by book and I'll say street smart, education smart, both book smart and both. But at what point did you realize you're also an athlete and you can play multiple sports and still get good grades?
Well, starting off, I mean, even maybe fifth grade, I was on swim teams. I wrestled. I played soccer for a very long time. And I mean, for me, I'm just a competitive person.
Right.
So when it comes to any kind of sport or really anything, I'm playing to win.
Yeah. Even
if I have no business being on the field or court or, whatever arena, it takes. I feel like I can be competitive in just about anything.
So that must have been cool for you when you came back to Indy and you started working with the Pacers during their heyday of, kicking ass and taking names, to see these individuals top of the game. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, top of the game. And you because how old were you then?
19 years old.
19 years old. Being around such strong professional athletes must have been so cool, especially just graduating high school, obviously a year or two before that, and being a great athlete yourself. You're looking at these professional athletes and the hard work that they had to put into it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a whole nother level when you're around literal legends like Larry Bird and, Reggie Miller and Rick Smits and some of those guys, and just seeing them around on a daily basis. I mean, it feels like it just kind of by osmosis, like you just kind of get that vibe. And at that time, it was the first year when they were at the time Conseco Fieldhouse.
Right.
And so the Pacers organization was going through a lot of transition, but they have the new stadium. They go to the finals, like all these, things are happening, buzz around the city, buzz around the arena.
Oh yeah. It's a basketball city.
Right.
It's a basketball city.
So it was just a really exciting time to be around all that. And Isaiah Thomas, that was when he was transitioning into coaching.
Right.
So just being able to see
some
those
legends.
people,
Some serious legends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
So you're here in Indy, and you're surrounding yourself by a bunch of greats. At what point did you want to get into the digital marketing world?
So when I was in business school, it was basically
where you were on the dean's list. In case you all missed that, just fucking throwing that out there, Justin.
Right. That was basically leading me towards an accounting career.
Okay.
Which is just not me.
Right.
Like I'm a numbers guy when it comes to data, but when it comes to just crunching numbers, not really my thing. So I kind of saw where, what the path was with those kinds of jobs and what that program.
Right.
And so, I really just geared my coursework to be able to be in marketing. And then that came from that internship where I got to experience different departments. And so when I went into it, I was thinking, okay, sports organization is just all about basketball, right?
Yeah.
But then once you're in it, you see all the moving parts.
All the facets behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's the media, and then there's a marketing department, there's a sales department, there's a sponsorship. And so being able to experience each of those areas, it's like, oh, okay, there's a lot of different avenues to go to within business. And so that really kind of shifted my focus into just marketing. And then I'm like, I've always loved computers and web design, and so that's how I transitioned into the digital marketing.
Now we're gonna go back to I'm gonna ask a question about GO.A.T, greatest of all T's.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to that a little bit later, but I do have one question. So is that where you get your creative mind from back years ago when you're from doing the marketing and trying to be like seeing these other companies, and you're like you're constantly processing and thinking, it's like I can create this, I can do this, because you're into computers then, design work, and because if I'm looking at your resume here, your main group was called Franchise, and I mean, talk about these guys. These guys are huge, right?
They got pretty big.
Yeah.
We did a lot of events. We ended up going
like
down
Playboy
to
Mansion, Super Bowl stuff, like big stuff.
All of the above. We got flown out to LA, Jimmy Iovine, to do a audition with him and will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas, and this was when they were like really at their peak. And so having those kinds of experiences at a very young age, I'm like, okay, this is really cool, but I know that this still isn't it. I know that there's still another gear for me. But I think the doing the things with the band, this is like right when MySpace was starting to come out. Right. And so that was the first time you could really use a, social media, websites, all that for like real marketing.
For marketing.
Right. And so I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do here.
Right.
And it was just fun. Like I'm into multimedia and video and music and all that.
This is kind of before anyone really. I mean, people were doing it, but like they weren't doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think of myself as a pioneer.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I took the words out of your mouth. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start dabbling in this, and then you realize this is lucrative. You've got a good system going. You're working. You're surrounding yourself with the right people. You're living this everyday GSD lifestyle. You're traveling around. You're making money. You're also helping people around you. Mm-hmm. So everything's going, in my opinion, seems very well. So what makes you take a step back and go into the corporate world?
Having a kid.
Okay.
And
responsibility.
Getting married. Yeah.
All right. So you have a child, you get married, and you start working for Angie's List.
Right.
And then you decide, I can just sit here and come in and punch the clock, or I can just be the top performer.
That was pretty much the only option. Was if I'm going to be here, I'm gonna kill it.
Right.
And so I actually had them change their pay structure because I was the top performing account manager, and I was maxing.
And that's
out.
Sales, right?
Well, it's part of the sales process, but I was maxing out my bonuses at maybe 130%. And I'm like, well, I'm operating at 150%.
You need to pay the man.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, it just, they eventually change their pay structure, but I'm like, well, if after I'm done reaching that 100%, if I'm not going to get paid for it, then can I take the rest of the, quarter off or, so.
And did they let you? No.
They didn't.
No, they said we're going to pay you.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll pay you at like 130%.
Yeah.
So.
And so you were with them for how long?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yep.
So in the time you started and the time you left, you became a top performer. So again, I want to reference that's GSD right there. So you also worked with aerospace company as a marketing director.
I did.
And then at what point during this career did you decide that because I know you started the G.O.A.T. I say the G.O.A.T. I should stop saying that. When you started G.O.A.T, Greatest of All T's, was 2021?
Yeah, end of 2021.
Yeah. So at what point when you were doing your marketing business and your digital marketing, were you thinking about this project, this new business?
It really just started as a hobby, and
right.
My partner and I were just like, let's throw a few t-shirts out online and,
right.
See what happens. And the more we thought about it and the more I thought about it and got involved with the process, I'm like, okay, I already have the marketing tools to build a brand.
Right.
So I know how that goes. But I think the turning point was when people started asking for the actual branded gear. That was like, okay, we're like really actually onto something.
We're onto something
here.
Yeah. Because you said 2020 to 2021.
The end of 2021.
And here, right around the corner, because we're just about into 2024 right now, you're going to be nationwide.
Correct.
Yeah. So within 2.5, 3 years, you brought the brand from an idea to a product that's going to be in stores where anyone can go and buy the G.O.A.T.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I mean, with our e-commerce business, we've sold to people all over the country already. And that's the thing that surprised me because, most of these kinds of businesses, they build organically, locally,
right?
Which, is still the majority of our sales. But now that we're seeing people from all over the country, people we don't know that are completely unconnected, that are finding it and buying it. And what we're seeing is that over 60% of our buyers are repeat buyers.
Right.
So that they've bought them for themselves and then they'll end up buying one for somebody else.
Right.
And so as that goes along, we're like, okay, these people are really, really loving them.
And just for the record, for people listening, because we got listeners all over the country and some around the world. When you say local, which I don't really want to classify as your local company, but we'll use that just because you're going to be nationwide here shortly. But locally, Indianapolis, Indiana there's over 1 million people in the population, and that's not the surrounding towns. So when you say locally, we're 33% of the population in the United States lives within a 250-mile radius of Indianapolis with the major cities. So when you say locally, that's what you mean by local.
Right.
So people understand you're not local like you're in some little town in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, no.
And you're at the farmer's market selling a T-shirt.
No, we've actually never sold anything like directly, going out. People like, oh, you should go down and sell them. I'm like, that's not really what we do. Like, we'll go out and hand some out. Yeah. Just to build a brand up.
Right.
But going out and setting up a tent, like that's not what you guys are doing. No.
So we're gonna go back to the Go. I want to take it back in time where your father was handling the endowment for Lily, instilled in yourself about giving back and sharing what you have as well to younger generations of people, because you worked with the Big Brother program, Big Brother and Big Sister program. You also mentor individuals, and then you're part of the coaching program with Butler. So let's talk about that.
Well, on a previous podcast, I was really saying how that's it's in my DNA, right? So my parents have always made it a point to help others who are less fortunate. And so seeing that from, having family members who needed some, time to transition into wherever they were, and just actual strangers who have lived in the home. We also had 8 exchange students from Japan living in our home.
8
at one point in time, which was actually really cool because they were all older than I was. So I got to learn a lot about Japanese culture.
I love it.
And it really just opened my eyes to there being a much bigger world out there than, what I could see.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for me, the giving
And how
back,
old are you when you had 8 Japanese exchange students?
Maybe 11.
11 years old. That's your brain's just developing into, a young adolescent, and you're like, that's awesome.
It was, I don't think that you could put a price tag on that kind of experience.
No. You can't learn that in school.
No, not at all. And my parents are very well traveled. They've been all over the world. And so it's something where that is my goal, is to be able to go to at least every continent.
Right.
At least. That's like the baseline. So
are we going to see G.O.A.T t-shirts in outer space? I mean, you did.
We might have to get one for the what's that? The Space Force.
Yeah, for the Space Force. Yeah, I mean, you were working doing marketing for an aerospace company, so
that was very interesting.
Yeah, marketing director.
The aerospace industry is it's interesting.
Yeah,
with the stuff that they do for the government, and just the intelligence of the people that are involved with that.
Yeah.
Like I try not to be the smartest person in the room. I was never the smartest person in any of those rooms, which I love because I get, I just get to learn so much from them, and that they have the way that they think is just on a completely different level.
But they were probably learning something from you too, in a different direction.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Of course. Right.
Yeah. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
But I mean, like when you talk about rocket scientists, like literal rocket scientists,
like legit. Yeah. Yeah.
A literal rocket scientist. I'm like, you're probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lacey School of Business at Butler.
Oh.
So you're a mentor or business coach there?
I am.
So what does that entail?
So within the business school, there are different classes. And so each of the business mentors gets a group and really helps them take their idea from conception to selling. And they have a goal to sell at $1,000, and 10% of that goes back to the local food bank.
Okay.
And so right now with my group, we are getting them online. We've gone through.
So they create a business model.
They create a business idea, and then
can you give me an example?
So theirs is called broadly printed decor. And
okay.
They had a Butler student create basically a picture and a broad ripple, and so they
and
were.
For those of you who don't know, Broad Ripple is a small town, or small, not what is it? A neighborhood.
Yeah.
In Indianapolis, which is like where Butler is.
Right.
Sort of. Right.
Right.
Am I describing that right?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
The CEO, I didn't have any part of the idea conception, but their idea was, as college girls, I guess it's a big thing to have wall art. And so they're like, oh, well, let's do some wall art for these girls. And one of the CEO,
like pictures on a wall? You mean wall art? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
the CEO is in a sorority. And so her idea was to do a thing of Broad Ripple, because that is where these kids traditionally hang out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a good idea. So I talked to them about manufacturing process of how to do it efficiently, and
right.
making them think of things like, okay, what does the printing process look like? What does the fulfillment process look like? And just really,
Yeah, you're showing them the business, the real business.
right. Yeah, the stuff behind the scenes that goes from idea to actually selling and delivering the product.
Right.
So it's one thing to be able to sell, it's another thing to be able to actually produce it and fulfill it.
Yeah. So well, I got all kinds of questions. I guess my first one, so the goal is to sell $1,000. Have they reached that goal yet?
We're just getting online. We'll be online tomorrow.
Okay. Nice. So when this comes out, it'll already be online and you'll have already sold thousands and thousands of dollars.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Right. So in this program, has any of those beta companies ever turned into an actual company?
I believe some of them have from the previous years, and that there are some of these groups that they just absolutely kill it.
Yeah.
I mean, $1,000 is the minimum goal.
Right.
Me being competitive, I want my group to be the highest selling group out there.
And do you like the product?
I do.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
I can see you do.
It's a good idea. I'm excited for them, and just with the model that they have, they can sell more than one thing, where most of the groups are limited
to one
thing.
You're teaching them the way so they can have a product, but then they can expand off that product and have a product line.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. So how rewarding is it when so this is as an adult, you're doing this now, but you were also working with Big Brother, Big Sister program. Mm-hmm. So can you share with the audience, like how that reward is rewarded to you, even though like the children that you're working with are feeling the joy of this, but like how it comes back to you?
Well, I mean, when you're giving something to a kid and giving them an opportunity to have experiences that they wouldn't normally have access to, I think that gives you I don't even know how to say it. I mean, I'm giving something to them, but them receiving it
is giving back to you.
Is giving me something. And it makes me feel like a good human.
Yeah.
Really. And there's so many kids out there that have nothing, and I grew up comfortable.
Right.
More than comfortable. So I've never had to worry about dinner,
right,
or
breakfast,
right, any meal being missed or any of those kinds of things. And so to be able to give back to kids that are in different situations, especially ones that are really good kids,
right,
like just because
you're unfortunate situation,
right,
or circumstances,
exactly, through no fault of their own, that is just like, well, let me pass on the blessings that I've been given,
and then in return you get blessings.
Right.
Yeah. We did a show in I want to say Cabo, it might have been Cancun. Gary was his name, a great guy out of Arizona, but we were on location, and he had said, if we all just helped one person, and I've mentioned that a couple times on the podcast, but if everyone just helped one person, and if you think about that as a thought process, right? If everyone just helped one person, everyone would be helped.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm not saying go out and save the world and help 100 people. Sure, if you have the time, do it. But if everyone just helped one person, it's like helping that person cross the street, and that person helps someone cross the street. It's just all of a sudden it's a trickle effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because I used to...
I think it was Gary that said that, right? Justin? Yeah.
I used to try and help everybody without being able to take care of myself at times, or I guess maybe at the expense of taking care of myself.
Right.
And that's
bad.
It is. And this is one of the first times in my life where I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and focus on myself. Let me get in the gym.
Yeah, you're hitting the gym good.
I've been hitting it hard.
How much weight have you lost?
I lost about 20 pounds, and then I gained about 10 pounds of muscle.
Muscle, yeah, because even from the last time I saw you, I know we just reconnected just recently. the time before that I saw you, and the difference in that, I was like, man, he looks good. You've been hitting the gym. It's clear.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the thing about when you hit the gym, as everyone knows, it clears your head too.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's like my therapy spot.
That's what I always say too.
It's a little bit cheaper than laying on a couch.
Yeah, eating a bunch of chips.
Right.
Justin, stop eating the chips. No, Justin's been hitting the gym the last couple months pretty good. He's been running outside.
Looking good, man.
It's getting cold out here right now, but hopefully we'll be doing a podcast somewhere warm soon.
Well, take me with you.
Yeah, hey, we might just do that. All right, let's get into and I love that the brand G.O.A.T right now. I love that it's on fire, and I don't use that word loosely because I've talked to so many people I told them that you were coming on the show, and people were like, "Oh shit, you know that guy," which I think is awesome that your name is associated with it, and to know that here right around the corner you can just get it in retail stores basically around the country is awesome. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your product. Let's tell people what it's about. Share your journey. Yeah. I know you're a co-founder, you have a business partner, but right now the show's about you. So right. You can mention your business partner, more than happy, but again, we can have him on the show another time if that's something, but the show's about you. So let's talk about your journey in this company.
Yeah. So the way that it started was actually not even, we had a meeting about something completely unrelated, and he was wearing
helping children.
not quite that not quite that holy, but he was wearing one of the shirts, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool shirt, man. Where'd you get that? He was like, I made it. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty clever idea. And so with the shirts, the initial line that we have, it has the greatest of all time of different teams and different cities. And so I'm like, well, you got to have so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah. And, you got to have different
because one
names.
thing, you're smart and you know the sports. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, man, I'm sure that there would be other people that would like to customize their shirts and have different names on each of these things. And like, okay, I've worked with other clothing brands. I've worked with other T-shirt companies.
Because you have a passion for fashion.
I do.
And I didn't mean to, I didn't do that on purpose, Justin.
Speaking of double entendre.
That was good, right? You have a passion for fashion.
I do have a passion for fashion. I've always liked clothing and, keeping it fresh. Now I actually wear T-shirts almost all the time.
Yeah.
But they're
good T-shirts.
They are.
They're good. Just for the record, because I'm a T-shirt snob. I'm a T-shirt guy.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, and for anyone who's listening, because people give me T-shirts all the time, and I'm thankful. I'm appreciative. But some of them, I just don't wear them because the material. It's the material in the cut, man. It's for real.
It's all about the material.
Yeah.
Really. That's actually one of the things that I have made it a point to be known for, is the quality of the product. The design, there are there's millions of T-shirts out there, right? That have great designs and they're cool and whatever. But the first time you wash them, they shrink up.
Yeah.
They start fading.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. So
or unraveling.
Right.
None of my GSD shirts do because they're good quality.
They are. Whenever I wear yours, I'm like, okay. That's probably really the only reason that I wear it, because I'm like, all right, you pass the vibe check on that. But that's the thing that I really want to be known for with this brand, is the quality of the product. And so we only do the tri-blend T-shirts, which are super soft. They're not going to shrink up on you. They're not going to fade out. And with the kind of printing that we do, we started off and we've gone through probably 15, 20 different iterations of printing processes. And
when you say that, that's through printing companies, or when you say printing processes, to make sure that the outcome is what you're looking for?
Right. So with us, we want to have it to where people can't feel the design on the shirt. And so there's
I was touching some of them. It was a little confusing for me. Yeah,
it's weird, right?
Because I can feel mine.
You normally expect to be able to feel the screen printing, where with ours there's a direct to garment printing process where it infuses the ink into the fabric, and so that makes the print last longer, and it really, you don't have that feel, so it's not going to start cracking.
Did you create that technology or no?
No, it's been out there, but I found it. And I'm was thinking this is the best result that we're gonna have.
Do all t-shirt companies? Is there a reason why t-shirt companies don't do that? Is because of the cost?
It's more expensive,
right? But you don't care because you're selling quality,
right?
Yeah. If you want a cheap t-shirt, go to a cheap t-shirt.
Yeah,
place.
we're not
you're the greatest of all tees, not the cheapest of all tees.
Right.
I got a bunch of them today, Justin.
You do. You're on fire.
I'm on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, would you pay for a Lamborghini or do you want a, old Ford Fiesta? And it's worth the money. Maybe not Lamborghini, because I feel like they probably have a lot of maintenance problems.
Yeah.
But
bad example.
Right. So something that's really, really high quality that you're willing to pay more for, knowing that you're going to have it, it's going to last, and you're going to love it. And honestly, people tell me all the time, they're like, man, I wear this, twice a week.
Yeah. Do you want a homemade meal or do you want a TV dinner?
There you go.
I got them today, Justin. I'm on it.
So that's funny, because we've been looking at different ways to market the quality of the product, because that's really what we want to put out there. So it's like, how do you make those comparisons visually and in a funny way too?
Right.
Like everybody loves some humor when it comes to commercials. So
the shirt you're wearing right now is a branded shirt. Is that what you would call it?
Correct.
Because it's got your logo on it.
Correct.
And on the sleeve.
Correct.
You don't need to get up, but does it have names on the back of yours or no?
No.
So that's the branded shirt.
Correct.
Justin, you want to toss me? Can I show that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So for example, this one right here, which is this fucking material is nice. So you want to read that?
So on this one, this is the Los Angeles basketball. So it's got Bryant, Abdul-Jabbar, Chamberlain, Johnson, West, O'Neal, and Worthy on it.
And it's the colors.
Purple and yellow.
Right. And the material is soft, extremely soft. You guys can't feel this back home, but I can tell you, wherever you're listening to or watching, write this down, GOAT, because you're going to want to go buy these T-shirts. So the idea of the greatest of all tees is, explain this. I'm sure it was pretty obvious, but there's some listeners that probably don't understand what the names that you just read.
It's one of those things where if you know, right?
Justin.
So we looked at the greatest of all time in different cities. So that's
greatest of all time is the greatest of the basketball players of this time.
Yep.
Yeah. I love it. And so you'll do T-shirts about basketball players, hockey players, or whatever.
Every sport, and we've actually gotten into doing some of our own shirts where they're more focused on mindset. So we did one for actually military, which I know you're a big military supporter, as loyalty and courage, the leadership principles, the acronym discipline and service. And so there, with the mindset series, we want, when people wear these shirts, we want them to feel
motivated.
Right.
Yeah. Feel good.
Right. So if you're wearing a team shirt, let's say, you're like, I don't know, maybe you feel like you're getting the power of all the greats in you.
No, for sure.
But when you're wearing one of the mindset series shirts, it's something where you look in the mirror and you see the words that are on there. One of them is motivation, self-awareness, discipline, sacrifice, passion.
Yeah.
You see that and you're wearing it. When you put it on,
you feel good.
You do.
And you're reminded of this is what you're doing.
Right.
It's like getting shit done. You wake up in the morning, you're like, I'm going to get shit done today.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make one for you all, a
Yeah.
custom one.
Yeah, we'll accept that as long as the quality stays the same and you're not cutting corners just for me.
Always,
I'm just kidding.
Always high quality.
So I noticed you got a hat on, which is also Greatest of All Tees hat, the logo. Is that for your personal use, or do you personal hat, or do you guys sell hats and other stuff too?
We sell hats, sweats, sweatshirts,
Stickers.
Stickers.
Yeah.
We'll do all of those things. The thing with me is, with the quality being the biggest factor, we will test something for 3 to 6 months to make sure that it's going to wear correctly.
Right.
So, I mean, there are things that I've had since last year that we haven't released yet because going through the different versions of them, they weren't quite the quality that we want to put out there.
Now, just because, again, Keith was on the show a couple months back, and again, he owns Premium Junk Clothing. I'm excited to connect the two of you guys. So how do you outsource the material? I know, like, for him, he'll travel around, he'll go to different countries. But he does T-shirts and he does hats, but he also does like high-end stuff, coats and women's dresses and like fashion stuff. So you're I shouldn't say fashion stuff, it's not the right word, but you're making you're not going into the high fashion world. You're staying in the T-shirt world, the hat world, the college sports, professional sports world. How are you outsourcing your products to make sure the materials to make sure you get the highest quality?
I would say we're in the athleisure space.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
It does. Thanks for clarifying.
There you go. When it comes to the materials, we'll test everything.
Right.
We'll get them from the different manufacturers, and we try to keep as much of it U.S. based as possible.
Right.
So right now we have printers in North Carolina, Texas, and California, so we can reach different places and keep the fulfillment times shorter. But for the most part, we have local, or I guess U.S. based businesses and,
locally
and
America.
printers.
Yeah.
Right. Well, once we go international, that will be a different ball game.
Right.
But we're gonna sell up U.S. first before we.
And do you have a plan? Is there a 3-year or 5-year plan to go internationally?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been looking for printers over there for the last 6 months, and really it's just a matter of figuring out the exchange rates and import,
are you looking like in Europe
tax.
or like Southeastern Asia, or everywhere?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, they're sports fans.
Yeah.
Pretty much
all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And Europe would definitely be next, just because of the soccer.
Yeah. Football.
Right.
Football.
Right. If you want to be football, South America and Europe, I mean, really all over the world. Soccer is the most popular sport, by far.
Yeah, except in America.
Right. But with the...
Because you played soccer.
I did.
Yeah.
I played for Dynamo here for a while.
Shit. So you played like competitive soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just kicked the ball.
I was in it. And I played football because that was like a cooler sport. It was a little bit
like
sexy.
American football.
Football.
Yeah. We're tossing our words together. Football.
Yeah, I mean, I just went over to France and Spain this summer, and I was wearing the shirts, and even people there were loving it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they love American sports, especially basketball.
Right.
And so it was really weird, the response that I got, because I was wearing a Chicago basketball shirt, and it has Jordan and Pippen and Rodman, and people are like, oh,
they're like, I get it.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I didn't really expect that. But
it's cool because it greatest of all tees, right? There's two, in my opinion. This is as let's say a consumer, a customer. I see two things with that brand or your marketing, because I've touched and felt and wore your shirts because you've given me a shirt a while ago, which by the way washes well. The color is still on it perfectly, and I've washed it a bunch of times because it's a good quality shirt, and I've worn it a bunch. But I think it's kind of cool because G.O.A.T, greatest of all tees, to me means it's the greatest of all tees, right? And I'm making a gesture, so anyone listening, basically, I'm feeling my shirt. It's the greatest T-shirt, right? But then the slogan, or is that what you call it? The slogan, the branding on it, where it's the names. You're picking the greatest of these athletes of a certain era or a genre, which is. So it's like two meanings, and I don't know. Am I over?
That was intentional.
Yeah. Am I saying that wrong or?
That was intentional.
Yeah. I fucking love it.
Yeah. I think about those kinds of little things when it comes to marketing and branding a business, and being able to separate ourselves from there were other greatest of all tees and greatest of all T-shirts and greatest of all time tees, and I mean, there were a number of variations of the name, but where I feel like we will be able to separate ourselves is the quality of our product and the signature look of it.
100%. Now, I see you have a few shirts there. Is that for after the show, or is that something to talk about on the show?
Yeah, we can talk about them after the shirt. These are actually the Indianapolis football shirts. And so
hold that to this camera right here. So that's it's opening up right now. Manning, let me see. Manning, Sanders, Harrison, Freeney, Wayne, James, and Mathis.
All right, so that's one of them. And then this one is one of the exclusives. This was actually one of our first editions that we did. So it has the blue logo on the sleeve.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
And then this is the white version, same.
Right. And you can even see
same names.
Anyone who's watching this, we've got obviously good cameras because we like to have good quality stuff in here, right, Justin? But you can see them. Hold that one back up. You can see the material's nice.
Yeah, they're lightweight, very breathable, and
I
mean they feel good on your body when you're wearing them. This one was one of the original versions.
I think that's the one I have. Maybe. I don't remember now.
This one has a different list on it.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, United is. Okay.
So, I mean, this goes to people are going to have opinions on who should be on the.
But this is great, though. That's a conversation piece.
Right. Absolutely. And the people say, somebody came up to me and was asking me about the shirt. Like, yeah, because it's not something that you see every day.
Right.
One, and people want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, it's got to be so-and-so that should be on there.
Yeah.
Which is fun. It's just a good conversation piece. This one actually is a.
Now, is this one when I could feel the. You had me feel the letters.
The difference. So this one was this is one of the prototypes that we did. But even with that, we got the ink in there.
Yeah.
So we'll do versions, the black and white, which are the company brand colors. We'll do a version of each of the shirts that'll be the black and white version because it goes with everything too.
Right, it does. I love it.
So it's
one of my favorite colors.
Yeah, and I mean with the logo, like I said, when people started asking for branded gear,
right,
that was when.
That's when the light bulb kind of went off,
right,
or it actually turned up brighter. You're like, yeah, we are onto something here.
Yeah,
absolutely, I love it. Where do we find these shirts?
Greatest of all tees, and that's ts.com. Greatest of all ts.com.
They'll make sure that's written on the screen.
Got it.
So you're doing this now. This is your fashion. You're loving this.
I am.
At what point is this a full-time job for you, and you're not needing to do other jobs?
I've got a number in mind.
Okay, nice. So you got a plan.
I've got a number in mind.
I love it.
Yeah.
And do you think by what you're doing today reflects, and this we're going to go back in time a little bit, reflects, because you're giving homage to great athletes or great individuals. Do you think this has anything to do with a mentality that you had growing up of, surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with positive people, trying to give back all the time? Because I still go back to, Big Brother, Big Sister program. You're mentoring kids right now. You could stop all of that and be 100%. Hey, I'm just working on the t-shirt company. I'm trying to make money. But from my interaction with you in the past, and people that know you have told me completely something different, that you have a passion for this, but your heart also helps people all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, the era, I think that, what we grew up in, where there were those greats, right? We're in a different time when media and social media and all those things have come into play, where before, be like Mike, right?
Right.
You have these athletes that were role models, regardless of, their personal,
right.
Regardless of their personal lives, they at least stood out as these role model type people. Having those, being able to see those in kind of like fantasy, far off sight, and also in the real world for me, of being able to see business people and doctors and, people who were doing well in their professional careers, and people who were teachers and nurses and people who were actually on the ground helping people. This is something that it came about and is a way to help people, and it's fun. But I feel like the feeling that people get when they get this is that's what makes me feel good and motivates me. And even with an organization that we partnered with, which we will do many more, we have a nonprofit program where we'll do a shirt that is really exclusively for them. We'll do their branding on one sleeve, our branding on the other one, and then any of the proceeds from that particular t-shirt, we'll give them 20% back. So
nice.
Yeah, so this is a way to be able to give back.
I wonder if we could do something with the VFW post 10,003 Veterans of Foreign War.
Absolutely. We've already got the service shirt made, and
yeah. Well, after the show, we'll talk about that. That's a good idea. I love that.
Yeah. My grandfather, father, brother, all military.
Yeah.
So I support vets, and I mean, I feel like they are an underserved and, underappreciated, part of our society.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of listeners, I've got a lot of military people and veterans that listen to the show, so I'm sure they're happy when they hear you say that, because they're shaking their head saying, yeah, and I'm sure appreciate the gesture that might be able to happen with the Veterans of Foreign War. So that's awesome. So I know you're busy, so I don't want to keep you here all day, but two messages. A message for a young kid growing up who might be wanting to, not sure what they want to do, but explore business ideas. What's your advice to a young adolescent?
Try.
Mic drop.
Just give it a try. Like, that's it. I mean, there's
try.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it can be said any more simply than that. Just try.
I think you said it clear enough. Okay, an adult that's out there that's in a career, potentially something that they don't like, they're doing it because they have to pay their bills, or they have to, they're stuck in a rut maybe, and they don't really like what they're doing. Because I know that you business coach, you do a lot of these things. What would your suggestion be to an adult?
Same thing. Try. I work with a lot of business owners.
This is going to be the easiest book to write.
Yeah.
1 page.
No, and I'm thinking, no, honestly, I'm not kidding around when I say, because I love when our guests have something that's a positive they say something positive, because typically post editing, they make a reel out of it, but like, that's it. It's that simple.
It is. It's simple. It's not easy.
100%. Say that again.
It is simple. It is not easy. And that is the thing that people need to understand, is that this is simple, very simple, but it's not been easy. Like, people don't see the hours that go into the designs. They don't see the testing of the products. They don't see the, different marketing strategies and all those kinds of things that go
all the behind the scenes work.
Right. They see the finished product. But when it comes to people starting a business, it's not for everybody. You have to have a certain kind of, maybe even craziness to do it.
Yeah.
And an obsession and a passion that nobody can tell you that you're wrong for trying it.
Right.
And I guess maybe I'm risk averse of where I'm like, yeah, I've tried a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't work out.
And what'd you do?
Kept trying.
That's the message.
Yeah.
That's the message. Keep trying.
Right.
Okay, I have a little gift for you.
Okay.
Obviously, you're going to go home with some Good Dudes coffee from gooddudes.com, gooddudecoffee.com, where you can get all of your coffee needs. But you're going to get a Everyday GSD t-shirt. I know you already had one and you've been wearing it quite a bit. Different color, great material, feels great.
About to say, don't be coming with no 100% cotton shirts here.
And a good GSD hat.
I love it.
Everyday GSD. Hey, brother, I appreciate you being on the show. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your knowledge. And I think your last piece of advice is it's gold. I wish you and your company the best of luck. I know that we're going to help support it however we can. And I'm looking forward to potentially working with you with the Veterans of Foreign War post 10,003. But most importantly, right around the corner is 2024. So keep an eye out for the GOAT, G.O.A.T, greatest of all T's. Love it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the Everyday GSD podcast. Episodes come out on the 1st and 15th of the month. If you want to watch people or listen to people that Everyday GSD, please download and subscribe wherever you listen or watch the Everyday GSD podcast. Everyday GSD.